All right, so if you're a Notion user, you know how amazing it is. But you also probably know the pain of manual data entry. Today, we're going to fix that. We're going to dive into a custom Python class that's designed to make automating your Notion workspace unbelievably simple.
I mean, are you just tired of that endless copy-pasting, shuttling data around, updating tables, logging results in your Notion workspace? It's a common headache, and honestly, it's exactly the kind of repetitive work that computers were born to do.
Well, what if I told you there is a much better way? A way to let your code do all of that heavy lifting for you, completely seamlessly and automatically.
Okay, so before we get to the cool solution, let's just take a second to really nail down the problem we're trying to solve here. I like to call it the manual Notion problem.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Manually updating project dashboards every morning, logging every little experiment result, trying to sync up data from other apps, managing content calendars. Each one of these is a manual bottleneck. It costs you time and, let's be real, it's just asking for errors.
So, how do we smash through that bottleneck? Well, it's time to meet the hero of our story, a Python-powered assistant designed to completely wipe out this manual work. We're talking about a custom NotionHelper class.
So what is this thing? You can think of the NotionHelper class as your personal API translator. Look, the official Notion API, it's super powerful, but it can get a little complicated. This class just wraps up all that messy stuff into simple, easy-to-use functions, making it a breeze for your Python scripts to talk to your Notion pages.
And getting started is ridiculously simple. Seriously, all you need is your Notion API token. You write this one line of code, you create your little helper object, and boom, you are officially ready to automate your entire workspace.
All right, our assistant is ready to go. So, let's get into the two most fundamental things you're going to want to do: reading data from Notion and writing data back to it. Okay, this slide right here, this shows the magic. On the left, you've got the raw JSON that the Notion API spits out. It's a nested, complicated mess, a real headache to parse. But on the right, that's what our helper class gives you with just one function call, a beautiful, clean Pandas DataFrame. It's basically a super-powered spreadsheet, all ready for analysis.
And writing data back? It's just as simple. Forget trying to build those complicated JSON things by hand. To pop a new page into a database, you just call this one method, give it the database ID and your properties in a simple dictionary, and you're done. That's it.
Now, handling files. This is where the native API can be a real pain. It's this whole three-step process. First, you upload the file. Then, you get back some temporary ID. And then, you have to make a whole other request to actually attach that file to the right page. It's a bit much.
And this is where the power of this helper class really shines. It takes that whole annoying three-step dance and boils it down to a single, straightforward command. You want to embed an image? You just call this function, tell it which page and where the file is. Done.
Okay, so we've got our building blocks, right? Reading and writing data. Now let's put them together in a really powerful real-world example, automatically tracking machine learning experiments. So just think for a second. When reading data, writing data, and handling files becomes this easy, what kind of awesome systems could you actually build?
Well, you could build something exactly like this. This quote here is from the doc string of the star player in our helper class. It's a function designed to log everything about an ML experiment, compare its performance, and even juggle all the output files for you.
But here is the really cool part. Tucked away inside that function is this little bit of logic. Before it logs a new experiment, it automatically goes and fetches your previous best result, compares the key metric, and if your new score is the winner, bam, it flags it with this new best tag.
And this is what that looks like in action. Let's say your goal is to minimize error, so a lower number is better. The function sees your new score of 1.8, compares it to the old best of 2.5, and it just knows it's a new champion. You don't have to check anything manually.
So let's just recap what's happening here, because it's wild. One function call does all of this for you. It checks the leaderboard, it creates the new page in Notion with all your metrics, it embeds your performance plots right into the page, and it attaches all your output files. It is the complete end-to-end workflow in a single command.
Oh, and what if you haven't even set up the database in Notion yet? No worries. The helper class even has a function that can look at your data and just build the perfect database for you, with the right schema and everything.
Look, tracking ML experiments is just one really cool example, but it's just scratching the surface. Now that you've seen the tools, the real question is, what are you going to build with this?
I mean, the possibilities here are pretty much endless, right? You could build automated project dashboards that update themselves, personal finance trackers, full-on content management systems, a lightweight CRM to log your contacts. You could even monitor your data pipelines and have them report their status right into a Notion page.
So I'll leave you with this question. Take a look at your own Notion workspace. Find those things you do over and over again, those manual bottlenecks, and then ask yourself, how are you going to automate your workspace? Thanks for tuning in.